Imagine spending thousands of dollars on flights, hotels, transportation, and match tickets for the biggest football tournament in history, only to arrive and discover that the experience is nothing like what you imagined. It sounds unbelievable, but over the past few weeks, a growing conversation has been spreading across football communities, social media platforms, and fan discussions around the world. Some people believe the 2026 FIFA World Cup will become the greatest tournament ever organized. Others are asking a very different question. Has FIFA created a tournament that is simply too big to manage? And the most surprising part is that this debate has very little to do with football itself. It has to do with money, travel, logistics, and expectations. What we're about to uncover may completely change the way you look at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. For decades, the World Cup followed a familiar formula. 32 teams would compete for football's biggest prize. Fans knew what to expect. The tournament was massive, but it was still manageable. Then FIFA made a decision that changed everything. For the first time in history, the World Cup would expand to 48 teams. More countries would qualify. More matches would be played. More fans would be involved. On paper, it sounded like a dream. More football is always a good thing, right? Well, not everyone thinks so. At first, the announcement was celebrated. Smaller football nations suddenly had a better chance of reaching the world's biggest stage. Millions of fans who had never experienced a World Cup qualification felt hope. FIFA described the expansion as a way to grow the game globally. But as excitement grew, so did the questions. Because adding 16 extra teams doesn't just mean more football. It means more stadiums, more flights, more hotels, more transportation, more security, and far more pressure on organizers. Suddenly people started wondering whether the biggest World Cup in history might also become the most complicated. But that's not even the biggest concern. The 2026 World Cup will be hosted by 3 different countries: the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Never before has a World Cup been spread across such a massive geographical area. At first glance, this sounds incredible. 3 nations working together, multiple cultures, multiple cities, an unforgettable international experience. However, when fans looked closer, they noticed something interesting. Some host cities are separated by thousands of kilometers. A supporter could find themselves traveling enormous distances just to follow their team through the tournament. And that's where the conversation started becoming more serious. Imagine your national team reaches the knockout stage. As a fan, you want to follow them everywhere. But what happens when one match is in one city and the next is hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away? Suddenly your World Cup dream becomes a travel puzzle. Flights must be booked. Hotels must be arranged. Transportation costs begin stacking up. And the longer your team survives, the more expensive the journey could become. For many fans, this isn't just an inconvenience. It's a real concern. Then came another question. If travel costs are already rising around the world, what will happen when millions of football supporters start booking flights and hotels at the same time? Historically, major sporting events create huge demand. When demand rises, prices often follow. Fans started discussing whether attending multiple World Cup matches could become significantly more expensive than expected. While nobody can predict exact costs, the debate itself has become one of the most talked about topics among football supporters. And believe it or not, the travel issue is only the beginning. The real discussion becomes even more interesting when we look at expectations. FIFA isn't promoting this as just another World Cup. They're promoting it as the biggest World Cup ever. Whenever expectations become enormous, scrutiny follows. Every decision is analyzed. Every announcement becomes a headline. Every rumor spreads across social media within minutes. In today's football world, fans don't wait for official statements. They discuss everything instantly. That's why even a small concern can suddenly become a global conversation. To understand why people are paying so much attention to these debates, we need to look at what happened next. Because once fans started talking about travel and costs, another question began appearing everywhere online. A question that FIFA may have expected, but perhaps not on this scale. That question was simple. If this is going to be the biggest World Cup ever, Will it actually feel better for fans or just bigger on paper? At first, that might sound like a strange concern. After all, more teams mean more matches. More matches mean more excitement. More excitement should mean a better tournament. But football fans know that the World Cup is about much more than what happens on the pitch. It's about atmosphere. It's about packed stadiums. It's about fans from different countries filling the streets with flags, songs, and unforgettable memories. And that's where some supporters believe the biggest challenge may begin. The larger a tournament becomes, the harder it becomes to create the same unified experience that made previous World Cups so special. In past tournaments, fans could often travel between host cities relatively easily. Supporters would meet each other, celebrate together, and create a festival-like atmosphere that lasted for weeks. But with the 2026 World Cup spread across such a vast area, some people are wondering whether that feeling can be maintained. Instead of one giant football celebration, could the tournament end up feeling divided across multiple regions? And just when that debate started gaining attention, another issue appeared. Social media. Love it or hate it, social media now has the power to shape public opinion faster than ever before. One viral post can reach millions of people within hours. One rumor can spread across continents before the facts are even verified. And when it comes to the World Cup, emotions are always high. Every decision FIFA makes is immediately discussed, criticized, defended, and analyzed by fans around the world. It's engagement. In previous World Cups, fans often focused almost entirely on the tournament itself. But today's football audience is different. They have more entertainment options than ever before. Social media competes for attention. Streaming platforms compete for attention. Other sporting events compete for attention. FIFA isn't just organizing football matches anymore. It's competing for the attention of billions of people in an increasingly crowded digital world. And that reality changes everything. Because the biggest challenge facing World Cup 2026 may not be getting people to watch football. It may be keeping the entire world focused on one tournament for an entire month. At first, that sounds impossible. But what happened during recent World Cups suggests FIFA may have a strategy. A strategy that could either make World Cup 2026 the most successful tournament in history, or create even more debate than we're seeing today. But before we talk about FIFA's strategy, there's something even more important that most people are missing. The World Cup has never been judged before it starts as much as it is today. Years ago, fans would wait for the tournament to begin before deciding whether it was a success or failure. Today, people are making those judgments months in advance. Every announcement becomes a headline. Every rumor becomes a debate. Every concern becomes a trending topic. And that's exactly why World Cup 2026 feels different. Not because football has changed, but because the world around football has changed. The truth is that FIFA's biggest challenge isn't ticket prices. It isn't travel. It isn't even the expanded format. The biggest challenge is expectations. Because when you call something the biggest World Cup in history, people expect perfection. They expect packed stadiums. They expect unforgettable matches. They expect smooth travel. They expect affordable experiences. And they expect every part of the tournament to deliver something special. The problem is that perfection doesn't exist. No World Cup has ever been perfect. Not in 1994. Not in 2010. Not in 2014. Not in 2018. And not in 2022. Every tournament faced criticism before it began. Every tournament faced concerns. Every tournament faced doubts. Yet once the first whistle blew, something incredible happened. Football took over. The debates disappeared. The concerns became background noise. And fans focused on what they loved most. The game itself. Could the same thing happen in 2026? Many people believe it will. Because despite all the discussions, concerns, and debates, one fact remains impossible to ignore. This World Cup has the potential to be unlike anything football has ever seen. 48 nations, 3 host countries, millions of traveling fans, billions of viewers, hundreds of stories waiting to unfold, unknown stars waiting to become legends, underdogs waiting to shock the world. and moments that could be remembered for generations. That's why the current debate is so fascinating. Some people see challenges. Others see opportunities. Some see risks. Others see history in the making. And perhaps that's exactly what makes this World Cup so interesting. Not the controversy, not the headlines, not the arguments, but the uncertainty. Because nobody truly knows what will happen. Maybe the tournament will exceed every expectation. Maybe it will face challenges nobody predicted. Or maybe, like every World Cup before it, it will remind us why football remains the world's most popular sport. And that's the part many people forget. Long after the debates disappear, long after the headlines are forgotten, long after the social media arguments end, the matches will still be played. The goals will still be scored. The dreams will still be alive. And somewhere, a future World Cup hero is preparing for the biggest moment of their life. So while the world continues debating World Cup 2026, one thing is already certain. The countdown has begun. And whether you're excited, skeptical, or simply curious, the football world will be watching very closely. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that the World Cup always finds a way to surprise us. What do you think? Will World Cup 2026 become the greatest FIFA tournament ever held? Or are the concerns surrounding it bigger than many people realize? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more World Cup stories, football insights, and FIFA updates. See you in the next one. Soccer ball fire.